Afro show, where Pan-Africanism meets African traditional spirituality. Here, we present views from a wide variety of sources. And now, let's begin.
A wind of destruction is blowing over this land. And now the earth is trembling with man's oppression of man. Now this time come to sit down and rediscover what's life. Show the world the true meaning of real love, power, not strife.
And now our African pledge by our Chief Jegna, Yuya Assaan-ANU.
We are an African people. We will remember the humanity, glory, and suffering of our ancestors. We will honor the struggles of our elders. We will strive to bring new values and new life to our people. We will have peace and harmony among us. We will be loving, sharing, and creative. We will work, study, and listen so we may learn. Learn so we may teach. We will cultivate self-reliance. We will struggle to resurrect and unify our homeland. We will raise many children for our nation. We will have discipline, patience, devotion, and courage. We will live as models to provide new directions for our people. We will be free and self-determining. We are an African people, and we will win, and we will win, and we will win. Ashe.
I'm your host, Brother Wole Mongo Ifa, and with me as usual is my co-host, Sister Omilade. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we will get to a special program. We have a guest who is a longtime devotee, and we will talk about a variety of issues. You're here again this week with another Enlightenment and Transformation Network show, the place where we present a variety of ideas and sources to you, but personally endorse none of them, leaving you, the online listening audience, the opportunity to make up your own minds about things. So, once we come back from this, we will give you an opportunity to speak to the brother. Sister Omilade, please bring us home.
All righty.
According to legend, there was a time when Earth was pure, free of all evil, unicorns, pearl-paved pathways, skies so bright, no night, no problem. When only positivity polluted the conscience, and something went wrong. My name is Insight. Let's go. Waterfall slows down, breeze, the sun leaves. Cumulus clouds overshadow the area. The cave had appeared with a glowing interior. Inferior primates appeared at the seashore. Search for the knowledge in a natural resource. Mile by power in the course of a narrow path leads to sacred travelers that expanded to a huge community. Trees clouds down, make room for you and me. Machinery be used, spread more pollution. Scientific breakthroughs for all illusion. Positive intentions make the negative easy. See these other spectacular species. Reach keys in life, mixing your own formula. Curing the conscious, develop the medicine. Practical principles expose better things. It's the God. Of your people. It's the God.
Ashe. It is 27 minutes after the hour, and you're back with the Anatafo show, where Pan-Africanism meets African traditional spirituality with your host, Brother Ole Mango Ifa, and co-hosting, as usual, Sister Omilade. Today we have a special guest lined up for us. His name is Ajamu Hannibal Obataye. But what is most interesting about the brother, more than that interesting name, is the work he's been doing in and out of the community. He is a long-time devotee in the Ifa Orisha system, and he's the founder of the Facebook group, the Yoruba Society. Brother Ajamu, are you there?
Yes, I hear you loud and clear.
Ashe, welcome to the Anu Asafo show, brother.
Thank you.
I've been telling the audience a little something about you, but why don't you tell us a little bit more about yourself, and then we'll start our conversation.
Okay, where would you like me to start at?
Well, why don't you tell us a little bit about your journey into Ifa and the African traditional system, and then up to some of the activities you're doing today, including your Yoruba Society Facebook group.
Oh, okay, that's not a problem. Unfortunately, I was incarcerated at the age of 17. 1988 for violent crime. And when I went to prison, when I went to jail first, I went to prison, I was 17, I was illiterate. And as time went on, I met old-timers. They, gave me little instructions about life, explained things to me and how things are supposed to be, and, just a lot of things in general, things I didn't know, things that I was missing. And they explained things to me, and it was just so articulate and just highly intelligent. And, I asked him, one of them, how did you get so bright? How did you get so brilliant and whatnot? He told me reading books and studying for 20 years and everything. So I'm just looking at him, and he speaks very well. He knows what he's talking about, and he pretty much knows what he's doing and whatnot. And that right there, caught my interest, because he was able to speak on things that I had no knowledge of. And not just him, it's like a couple of old-timers. And I found myself hanging out with the older brothers who just knew a lot, because I didn't know anything. So I wanted to learn something. So in order for me to learn something, I have to really associate myself with people who do know more than me, so I can learn from them, so therefore I can get myself together. Because I was really amazed of the history and the politics and things in general. It's like any topic you can ask him about, he would just go into depths and details. I mean, he would just explain it, how it came about, when it came about, why it came about. And I thought that was really amazing. I didn't know people could do that, So as time went on, explained to me that, you got to get back to school and you got to learn some vocational trades and try to learn everything that you possibly can while you're incarcerated. The same way you went in is not supposed to be the same way you came out. Because if you do, that means you defeat your own purpose. So get a GED, read, learn, study, take all the vocational trades that you possibly can, because when you release one day, you never know which trade that you may have to fall back on. You always have several different trades, therefore you can always make an honest living, therefore you won't have to come back here again and, pretty much get on the right track or stay on the right track, So it pretty much made sense. So I like the history. History became, across my path, black history. And I began to look at books and couldn't really read them, but I began to look at books and, check them out and whatnot. And it took me a long time to learn how to read, really get it together. You know what I'm saying? I can't, put time on it, but it took me some years to, really learn and study and get it together. I used to always walk around with, words in my pocket, and I used to go out to the yard and ask all the time, what's this word, what's that word, and they would show me how to break it down in syllables and how to pronounce the word, and then they had me look it up in a dictionary, and then I started, they got me familiar with the dictionary, looking up words and the definition of the words, and also use them in a sentence, and that would make you very articulate, So as time went on, that's what I have done. I went to all the Black history classes, and I always was involved with political discussions about whatever it is that they were speaking about, because that was the thing that actually caught my interest, and I stayed with it. And that's what, like, stripped my character, stripped my vocabulary, stripped my history, my politics, and I really got into Black history. As I really got into Black history, I learned that Black people, we had our own tradition, our own African tradition in Africa that, we lost through slavery. I learned that, we were stripped of our African names, our language, our identity, our spirituality. Everything was just stripped from us, and it was replaced with the slave master religion, the slave master name, the slave master language, which is English, or maybe some people refer to it as Ebonics. You know what I'm saying? And I learned it, and I learned it well, and I became rebellious. So, I developed this attitude that, okay, everything that was stripped from my ancestors, I want to inherit it back, and I took on an African name because I am African. You know what I'm saying? If you are African, or you call yourself African, or you want to be African, or however one may look at it, you should first have an African name and know what it means, where it came from, and so on and so forth, because that's part of it, claiming your heritage, your identity, because the name is really your identity. And I learned it, and I pretty much got it down pat. My name was Ajamo. And I learned that the majority of Black people in America are from the Yoruba tribe. The Yoruba tribe is in Nigeria, which is West Nigeria, and the majority of the African people that was enslaved and brought over here to the Caribbean islands and to North America, South America, are from the Yoruba tribe. And it's a great possibility that I am from the Yoruba tribe, I looked at. So when I was looking at the names, I was looking at Yoruba names because I want to identify with Yoruba. So my first name was Ajamo, which means he fights what he believes in. And Obataye means the king of the world. So I looked at the meaning of those names before I actually chose it for myself. Ajamo means he fights what he believes in. So that means, whether it's right or wrong, you're going to stand up and you're going to fight and you're going to argue. You're going to do whatever you got to do to get your point across to win that battle, no matter what the battle may be. And that always been me. So it's like the meaning of the name fits my character, and that's why I chose that name, Ajamo. Obataye is the king of the world. I always thought highly of myself. Always thought highly of African people. I learned the history and whatnot. So, in so-called professional places, they address you by your last name. Johnson, Williams, Smith, Mr. Obataye. May I speak to you for a minute? So that's like my personal joke. So when they say, Mr. Obataye, may I speak to you for a minute? All he's calling me is Mr. King of the World. May I speak to you for a minute? And I find that really amusing. He don't know what it means, but I know what it means. But by law, he got to call me that because once I was released, what I did was I denounced my forefather's slave master name and inherit my African name due to the fact that I am an African. And as time went on, in history, I learned history. I know it. I pretty much got it down pat. But then I was overwhelmed with the African spirituality, which is Yoruba. And the different Orishas and what they do and how they do it and how they function and so on and so forth. They're my Eguns. Eguns are your ancestors, your relatives who live way before you live. Your great-great-great-great-grandmother, probably a million years down. Your great-great-great-great-grandfather, probably a million years down. And, I learned that, energy never dies. It transforms, but it never dies. So therefore, my mother's deceased. She transcends. She's not here on the physical realm with me, but she's here with me spiritually. And all my ancestors whose names I don't know and not able to mention are with me spiritually. They exist within my DNA. I am them, they are me, and we are one. This is pretty much what Yoruba teaches me. So I learned it, and I'm still learning it because I still don't know as much as I should, I would say, because you never learn everything. And I loved it. I embraced it. And I made it my business, like when I be released, I'm going to get initiated, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. I had a lot of hypes, a lot of hopes and dreams and desires and whatnot. I was released 2001. I did 13 years in prison for murder. And I've been home now for 13 years. I never went back. And I came home, and I was pretty much introduced to Look at Me, you know, from the Cuban perspective. And that's how I got initiated, you know, to the Look at Me system. And I, you know, moved up around there. And I don't really agree with the Look at Me system, but at the time, that was the only closest thing that I had to African spirituality for me, you know. As of now, I'm in contact with a Babalawo in Nigeria. I've been working with him for like a couple of years now. He's been helping me like from ground up with goals, readings, ceremonies, what the case may be, and he like really helped me get to me where I want to be. I started the Yoruba Society. It's a group in Facebook called the Yoruba Society, and I have my own ideologies about Yoruba, about the people, meaning that I don't believe in integration. You know, I don't believe in we should integrate with non-African people. I believe that African people need to learn their history, embrace their history, learn their African spirituality, embrace their African spirituality, and that's pretty much what I'm about for African people. You know what I'm saying? I would like to, even if people don't get initiated to Yoruba or embrace it, at least know the truth about it. You know what I'm saying? Because you have more whites and more Spanish who gravitate towards our African spirituality more than we do because we lost it through slavery. So what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to reinstall it with the African people. That's what the Yoruba Society is about, you know. And basically, you know, in order to be, you know, a member of the Yoruba Society, because it's a little bit more than just a group on Facebook. You know, we like, you know, pretty much it's a movement in reality. And you have to be African. You can't join, but you know, you got to be handpicked. And your parents must be African, you must be African. And not so much being African, it's also the mindset as well. Because if you don't have the mindset that I'm looking for or that we're looking for, then we just pretty much bypass you because, you know, you have your own ideologies, you have your own ways, you're set in your ways, you're going to do things the way you've been doing it or how you feel comfortable doing it. I don't argue with you. I just let you continue to do what you do and we continue to do what we do. But the Yoruba Society is to protect and preserve Ifa and the Orishas. And what I mean by that is that I like to enlighten as much as African people as possible to learn about Yoruba. Hopefully they embrace it and incorporate it in everyday of life, because you have so many non-African people who want to embrace what is African. To me personally, I can't understand it because I can't embrace Greek and Roman gods and set them up in my house and whatnot and pray to something that doesn't look nothing like me. I mean, that's identity crisis. There's something wrong there. And I learned that when people conquered you, the first thing they did was strip you of your identity, they stripped you of your spirituality, and they gave you their names to show possession, meaning that you're my slave, you're my property. They gave you their religion, you know what I'm saying? Meaning that, no, you're not going to practice that voodoo, that devil worship. No. You're gonna like Jesus. They want to give you this white Jesus, and Jesus is supposed to be the Son of God, and if Jesus is white and God is white, now see, I have a problem with that. I have a serious problem with that, you know, and I choose to identify with my own heritage 100%, and I choose all the Orishas, 101, all black, they're all African, you know, but then again, you have a lot of Babalawos. I can't knock them or whatever case may be. I communicate with them. They initiate all the whites, they initiate all the Hispanics who want to come over there. You know, first I was looking at it as a money thing. You know, they need money, so, you know, that's what they do. But then again, you know, explain to me about Ifa. Ifa is universal, and Ifa accepts all, regardless of what your nationality may be. Ifa accepts all and embrace all. You know what I'm saying? So I can't argue with Ifa. I don't truly understand it. That's what I like to use. I don't truly understand it, because what I've studied, that in the Egyptians, when the Egyptians was the real Egyptians, they was dark and they was black, and they was practicing the, you know what I'm saying, the culture, and there was the priests and the priestesses of the Egyptian gods. And what they did, they allowed white people to come amongst them to be friends, supposedly, and then they started teaching them about the Egyptian gods, you know what I'm saying, and the goddesses and whatnot. They started initiating them, bringing them as priests and priestesses and whatnot. And what the white people kept doing, they kept bringing in their own more and more and more, and they were initiating more white priests and priestesses and so on and so forth. And then the white man would mingle with the black man, then the white woman would mingle with the white woman would mingle with the black man, and the black man would mingle with the white woman. And what happens is the baby would come out, you know, mulatto, fair-skinned and whatnot, and they kept doing that for a process of years and years and years until there was no more dark-skinned Egyptians. So that's how they overthrew the Egyptians and conquered the Egyptians, and they actually took over Egypt like that. And that's why when you see these old movies that, you know, you see all these fair-skinned Egyptians, they're Egyptians and so on and so forth. And I have a problem with that, you know. And when I look at it, it's the same thing that happened to Egypt in Egyptology and the gods and whatnot. It's the same thing that happened to Yoruba, Ifa, because you keep letting these whites in, you keep letting these Hispanics in. Whites and Hispanics, same thing, you know. And you keep letting them in, and pretty soon, you know, people not learn about Ifa, learn about the tradition, you don't know about it, and then you have all these whites up in there, you have all these Hispanics up in there, and where it leaves us? You know what I'm saying? We just left behind. And when the Hispanics get up in there, and when they learn and get down packed, and you try to learn something from them, they look at you like you know, like you're not worthy of their religion, because now you feel it's theirs, and it's not yours anymore. Okay, it's African, it's part of Nigeria, but you lost it, we found it, and now it belongs to us. So they charge you all these high prices to get initiated. Like, to be a priest of Eshu, they charge you $15,000 to be a priest of Eshu. Are you kidding me? You come to Nigeria, it's only $1,200 to be a priest of Eshu. You know what I'm saying? And a round trip to Nigeria is $889. I done looked it up, researched it and all that. You stay at the Sadulu House, so you know how to pay hotel fees, whatever the case may be. You learn, you teach you study, you come back to the U.S., and now you be a traditional Babala, not a Christian Babala, because these Hispanics, you know, run around with saints this and saints that. You know, I understand the whole process of slavery, how they had to camouflage the Orishas with the Catholic saints. I understand that, but what I'm saying is that we're not in that type of slavery anymore where we got to camouflage and hide what we do and what we believe in. But they still are. So, okay, cool. That's what you want to do. That's what you want to do. Me, they are Orishas. They are African. They are Orishas. I learn to speak Yoruba. I pray to them in Yoruba because that's their language, and I feed the Orishas their food. They eat anything that we eat, but I like to focus on their food, the bitter cola, the cola nuts, the things from Nigeria that the Orishas love to eat. That's very important. A lot of Spanish people, whatever the case may be, they don't feed the Orishas that. They feed them table food or what they've been feeding. Okay, cool. I do that too. But I also keep in mind that what they like to eat, because I ask them what they like to eat, and I always present them to them first, their food from home. You know? And that's pretty much it.
Ashe. Ajamu, Hannibal Obataye, you also have a forthcoming book, a memoir, called Beat the System, coming out soon. Tell us a little bit about that.
That's a book that's just based on my life experience. I'm just sharing my life with the world. It's basically for the youth that comes really behind me, so they can pretty much see what I went through, how I went through it, and maybe they can make a better decision in life than what I did when I was that age. You know, and I use the terminology, I beat the system, because when I was incarcerated, Obama told me that I couldn't book the system. And I didn't know what that meant. I asked him, I said, what you mean you can't book the system? I don't understand the terminology. He said, you can't beat the system. I said, well, why not? He said, because the system wasn't designed for you to beat. I said, says who? And I just kept asking the questions. He kept getting tight, but he really couldn't really answer it. And from that day on, I just had this notion that, okay, maybe he couldn't beat the system, but I don't stop me from beating the system. Beating the system is being a survivor. I mean, I sat in prison over 10 years, and now I'm home. I go to the doctor every year, thorough checkup, you know what I'm saying? No diseases. I still have 20/20 vision. My health is good. I have my own business. I'm working in the community. I'm pretty much on a positive mind state, doing positive things and whatnot. I'm dealing with the growth and development of people, and that's being the system because a lot of brothers that come home, they didn't learn anything. They just in and out of jail, back and forth, in and out of jail. Me, I developed this concept as I graduated. I got a PhD. In school, you go to school for 8 years. You learn your study for 8 years, you get a PhD. Well, I did 13 years in prison. I did more than 8 years. And I never went back to jail. I never went back because I never got left back. I never got left back because I paid attention. I learned, I studied from the professors who were older brothers that was there. So I got it down pat, and I learned to follow instructions. So therefore, I never returned back to prison. So that's what I mean. I beat the system because I am successful. It's not a revolving door. It's not a revolving door that I go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. No, I'm out here and I'm staying here. So I also do the motivational speaking thing as well, and you really try to work on the youth, the youth of African descent, because our people need our help. We are at the bottom of the planet. Everywhere we go, even in Africa, we are always at the bottom. We need to be uplifted. We need to be inspired. We need to be told that we were kings and queens, and we need to move forward in life. Being a system is like, I'm not dead. I'm not a statistic with a number. I used to be a statistic with a number, but I'm no longer a statistic with a number, and I'm definitely not a statistic at all, because if I was, I wouldn't be on the phone now. So, that's the concept. I beat the system because I'm successful.
I see. Brother, now let's just jump right into the deep end because you sound like you warmed up. We are Americans. Let's talk about the question of identity and names, because we talked about this once in the past, and I found your position very interesting. We are citizens of the United States of America, many of us, most of us. We have an ethnic cultural background, an ethnic background of being of African descent. We're African, ethnically, African American, and culturally, most of us practice a culture, a way of life day to day that is rooted in a Western system that comes out of the New Negro movement by Du Bois all the way back in the Harlem Renaissance. And he was trying to say, we are civilized, and let's prove it by producing art by European standards. But anyway, to say all that, what I want to say is that the Yoruba, Ifa, Orisha system, particularly with the Odus, talks about ancient Yoruba land, primarily, if not the time before there was the earth. But now we're in a 21st century reality and a Western reality at that, in terms of day-to-day living. And we've talked about this subject before as well. Tell me, how do you translate the traditions of the ancient Yoruba, Ifa, Orisha practitioners into the contemporary practitioner lifestyle by people living in the United States, particularly those of African descent that you like to focus your attention on so much? How do you translate? What have you translated? What do you find? I know it's a big question. What you found not translatable, needs to stay traditional, and what are you grappling with in the middle, and how are you making that process? Let's talk about that, okay?
Okay. What was the question again?
Okay.
How do I translate from the ancient to now?
Yeah, how do you translate it? How do you live a Ifa lifestyle in the new world?
Oh, that is a perfect question. The main thing is you have to think and speak and be positive. That's number one. You can't succeed without that, because what happens is when you're positive, when you're thinking positive, your thoughts are very, very important. Your thoughts can make you or break you. So if a person always thinking negative and they speaking negative and doing negative things, what happens is you invoke negative energy and you awake them, and they constantly surround your aura and surround you and make everything negative. And it's what they call cheap labor. You're feeding them. They're feeding off your negative energy. But if you think positive and you speak positive and you carry something in a positive form, now you're invoking the positive entities, and the positivism is what is actually circling around you and being around you. I know it's kind of hard and difficult because, we are humans and we have the will to do good or bad, and, we live in this society today, and things don't go our way or things don't go the way we would like for it to go, so we have a tendency of detouring back to our old ways because we feel that we can survive better and make money that way quicker, whatever the case may be. But that usually be our downfall, and we don't even know it. And someone tries to explain it to us, we don't want to hear it because right now we're being oppressed, and we just want the easy way out. So, it's like the lifestyle is thinking positive, speaking positive, and just uplift people in general in a positive perspective.
Sure. Interesting talking about that issue we broached earlier about the ethnicity of people practicing the tradition. Like you said, a lot of our African cousins and brothers and sisters talk up, their views on integrating of the system, of the philosophical system, is different than a lot of us African Americans who've had a different experience through enslavement and with many of the peoples of European descent. And there's a different relationship. That it's but it's nice to know that you, in spite of that, you've been able to overcome to the degree that you're listening to what Ifa says and you're seeking to gain greater knowledge of it. So I salute you on that, brother. Yes, and I wanted to bring it around because I wanted to ask you about, in particular, many people call themselves Babalawos. We've talked about this as well. The whole ranking of the hierarchy of the study, and then there's the special translating of the Odus and what have you when one is divining. And here in the United States, we've, like you said, we have Lakumi here. That's been here a long time. That was here before Ifa Orisha from the continent arrived through the internet. And there are different interpretations. So, as a long-time practitioner, devotee, a person who's been through a few different systems and what have you, this thing is constantly evolving, is constantly growing and moving. Where do you see yourself now in terms of how you interpret what's right, what's correct as far as Ifa is concerned? And okay, and then after that, I'm going to ask you about students. What kind of advice would you give them in that same direction? So.
All right. What was the first question?
Yes. How do you see yourself in terms of let's see. Let me try to get it right. How do you see yourself in terms of In terms of your interpretation, right now,
I would have to say militant.
Okay.
See, what happens was, it's like when you learn Black history, right? When you learn the Huey Newton, Marcus Garvey, and you just learn a lot of stuff like that, it makes you militant in a way. You know what I'm saying? And what happens is I became militant in that era during my course of study. But then when I came across, learn about Yoruba, the Ifa tradition, I brought that militancy over there to Yoruba as well, to Ifa as well. Because King Oduduwa is the one who settled in LA Ife like over 10,000 years ago and established, the Ifa and the Yoruba religion in Nigeria, in LA Ife. So that's what I focus on. He didn't establish it in Europe. He didn't establish it in Puerto Rico or another Caribbean islands. He established it in Africa, in Nigeria. So to me, this is an African religion. This is an African tradition. So why do we, maybe embrace or accept non-African people, heavily? You got a little few here and there at school, but we embrace outside ourselves so great that pretty soon we're not going to be in charge of our own tradition because we're constantly selling it out. And what happens another 10,000 years from now when African people don't even practice it no more? You just got a bunch of whites and et cetera practicing it and just overcharging people and just doing what they want. What happens then? I'm thinking longevity.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm looking at,
And not just 10,000 years, but what about the next 10 years? Things are still in an up and down situation. Yeah, we had a guest on approximately 3 weeks ago. Baba Kola Abayomi. Abimbola. Kola Abimbola. I'm sorry about that, Professor. Dr. Kola Abimbola, son of Wande Abimbola, a legal scholar at, I believe, Howard University right now. He's been through the British schools, and he's a continental Nigerian. He was on this program and talked about how Ifa is about living in greater harmony with nature, with oneself, with nature, and with others. And he was saying that notion of whites, of people not wanting whites to have it, he says, kind of ironic, because, we often talk about how unfairly we are treated by them. And having some people of European descent get in better touch and more harmony with themselves and with others and with nature sounds like something that the whole world could benefit from, particularly us. So he was coming from that point of view. Now, we have an experience over here where, everything that was indigenous about us is demonized and at the same time used commercially by many of the people of European descent to make a bunch of money. That has been the African experience as well, but in different ways. So, it is understandable that there's some resistance. I think that resistance is around the notion of whites getting involved in trying to take it over. Some people may even talk about in some parts of Lukumi, Santeria community, where it seems that, because of the cost of initiations and doing special rituals and such, that many people at the top of the tradition are those who come from more traditional money, a lot of the whites. And the blacks, whose tradition it is, have basically been, I won't say barred out, the price has gotten too expensive for them to practice their own tradition. So, how about that? Yeah, so I can understand. Is that sounds like your particular concerns about the European American theater?
Yes, and the same thing with that stuff that you call Santeria and leukemia and all that. When you are black, African descent, and you supposedly, you're initiated with them or through them and you become their godparent and whatnot, it's just so much racism, there's so much biasness, but they try to hide it so cleverly that a lot of times you can't really see it. They pretend to be your friend, they pretend to be this, they pretend to be that, and they also put a great act on pretend to helping you. They do help you, but in the long run, they F you over more than they help you. You know what I'm saying? Meaning that they'll give you Orisha when you pay for it, after you don't, spend half of your life savings for these high-priced ceremonies. But then again, they never mention to you about the Majuba, and you have to learn the Majuba because in order to ask the Orisha questions, you have to know the Majuba to call them down, and your Eguns are down to aid you and assist you on this reading that you're doing. They don't bring the Majuba to you like that. So it's a lot of things. It's some things they will tell you, a lot of things they won't tell you, and you're missing it. And they create this system that you always have to get a reading from them. You always have to do an elbow with them. You always need them because they look at you as job security. They're not going to teach you everything or enough for you to be independent so you can go on your own. No, they're going to have you or keep you around so therefore you can always rely or depend on them. And that's what I look at, and that's what I call trying to enslave your Eguns, trying to enslave you, because you are your Eguns, and they trying to enslave you, because if you always got to go to them for this and go to them for that, and you can't do it on your own, and you've been with them 3, 4, 5 years, and you still can't do it on your own, and they got all these excuses and reasons. Oh, you got to have a crown to do this. Oh, you got to have a crown to that. Oh, you got to do it. Okay, now they got the crown. You got what they call an empty crown because you don't know how to do nothing, because they told them that you had to have a crown to learn all this stuff. So when you do get the crown, you try to learn everything. Now they're busy. Oh, I got to go to work. Oh, this, oh, that. You know what I'm saying? It's a game. It's a hustle. It's a scam.
Shit. Look, why don't you tell the audience your experience personally with these systems, so we have some idea where you're coming from with this, and we don't think it's just some biased opinion.
All right, I'm going to tell you what my Eguns told me, because my Eguns like, okay, you want to be spiritual, you want to know your black history, but yet and still you're going to non-African people to try to learn African tradition. You're not making sense. So by me being initiated into leukemia, my godfather is Cuban. He's one of those white Cubans. He's more of a Spaniard descendant instead of an African descendant, but yet still I'm going to him, asking him questions and trying to learn this and trying to learn that, and he's giving me the runaround, But if I was Cuban, a light-skinned Cuban, then I would have got more than what I bargained for. I would have been in even more. But since I'm as you say, African American, I got pretty much the short end of the stick. So I learned from different people. My ego explained to me, it just came to me that you have to learn from different people. What I mean by that is, public school system, you got a homeroom class, you got a social studies teacher, you got a math teacher, you got a science teacher, you got a gym teacher, you got a language arts teacher, you got different teachers teaching you different things, and this is how you learn. So the same thing with the African spirituality. You cannot have one teacher and expect to learn something, or like to really, really learn. I mean, you got some who are like really people who will really teach you so you would know, but especially if you are black and you're dealing with the Latinos or any island people, because the island people discriminate against the so-called black Americans too. The Jamaicans, the Haitians, the St. Thomas people, they call you a black American. Because when they say you're a black American, that's the way of looking down on you, like, okay, you're born here, and I'm born in St. Thomas. So, you know, you're a black American, but I'm an island. I'm from the West Indies. I'm this, I'm that. You know what I mean? The same thing like white people when they be like, you people, it's the same thing. What do you mean by you people? You know? He's white, and when they talking to you, you're black. You people, it's the same thing, the island, though, black Americans. It's the same process, just words a little different.
Where part of the country do you live in, Babu?
I live in Connecticut. I'm from New York City, but now I reside in Connecticut.
Okay, so you've had some personal interactions with many of these different types of people you're talking about, right?
Oh, yes. Everything I speak on is my personal experience. Mm-hmm. And not only my personal experience, I met other black people, you know what I'm saying, who had the same similar experience as me. So I know I'm on the right page here. And I ask them questions, and I ask them all different types of questions, and they have the same problem as I have.
Shay, Baba, won't you give us your contact information at this point? You're saying a lot of provocative things, dropping a lot of science, and we want to give our online audience an opportunity to get in touch with you after the show's over as well.
Okay, cool. My area code is 917-650-9062. That's my phone number. My website for my book is IBeatTheSystemBook.com. Are you there, brother?
Yes, I am. That's I Beat the System, the word book, BOOK.com.
Yes.
Okay. And would you give that phone number once more?
Area code 917-650-9062.
906 what?
9062. Last four numbers.
9062. That's area code 917-654-9062. Nope.
You add a 4 in there. Nope. It's 917-650.
Ashe, 650.
9062.
9062. Okay, so everybody should have that by now. So, great. We of course, we don't have as much time as we like, but, we know that these subjects we're talking about, these are long subjects. But I'm glad that you took the time to come in and talk to us about these things. I wanted to talk to you about initiations and about apprenticeships or being someone's student or the process of student-teacher relationships in the tradition while we had the time. Let's just jump in. Well, the initiations are so juicy. Let's just talk about initiations. You have your initiations, and you dealt with some people and have not gone through with different initiations. You've been in the community for some time now. Many, many new people are coming into the traditions every day. And, more and more things are becoming more popular. Let's talk about the notions of initiations, your experience with them. Let's talk about your interpretation of their value and which ones are important, which ones maybe are less important. Let's talk about, first, would you tell us some things about your experience with initiations, and then let's talk about initiations in general, okay?
Okay. You wanted me to expound on when I first got initiated?
Yeah, you could talk about whatever you like that gives us some background information to set up, what you're going to talk about in terms of your views of them, of their importance, how they should go. I know you're very interested in the cost that are associated with many types of initiations. So whichever way you want to go, and I'll just follow your lead.
I'm trying to get this together. Which initiations are most important? You wanted me to speak on first, or what?
Well, would you just speak in general as to what people looking to get initiations need to be concerned about, how it should go, how it shouldn't go, and then we'll just go from there.
Okay. If a person want to get initiated, this is what I highly recommend, right? You have to ask a lot of questions. Because when you begin to ask a lot of questions to the person who's doing initiation, or the case may be, and they can't, I'm not going to say can't answer them, but they kind of like getting annoyed or you asking a lot of questions like that, they could be up to no good. And you should ask not just one person, but put it in the universe. Ask a lot of people questions. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're going to get a ceremony done, right? And you might be interested in this particular person to initiate you, what the case may be. You ask them a lot of questions. You try to mix and mingle with a lot of people and ask them the same questions to see if you get the same answers. 9 times out of 10, you get all mixed up and confused. But what happens is, if you want this specific person to initiate you, or you think you trust them, or you want to trust them, or however you want to interpret it, go and get a reading from someone else who don't know that person when it comes to be, and ask, get a reading done and ask, is this person qualified to initiate me? Is this person, because sometimes, a lot of times when a person initiates you, don't mean they're going to teach you. So in the reading, you ask, would this person initiate me properly? Yes or no? Would this person teach me to be independent in the tradition? Yes or no? That's one reading. Then you go somewhere else and get another reading done, just to see, can you match those 2 readings? Because, you want to deal with this person, but you're not sure about that person. So you probably get about 2 readings, maybe 3 readings on that one person. But when you do that, it'll be 2 different people or 3 different people. And if you get 3 different yes, or if you get 2 different yes on that one person, then you might be on to something. But if you get a no from 2 people or you get a no from 3 people, I think you should leave that person alone. That's just something that I came up with. Can you trust this person? Because when you're not, I'm not going to say, I don't know how to say this. When a person is not in tune with their spirituality, you don't know if you can trust them or not. So you go to someone else and get a reading done on that person. Are they trustworthy of initiating you and teaching you and guiding you the correct way? And when you have a so-called godparent, always go get a reading done on them. Go somewhere else, go outside your circle, and go get a reading done on them to see what are they doing. Are they teaching you correctly? Are they trying to swindle you money out of you? What are they doing? Because a strange person doing a reading for you, you don't know the person, what the case would be, they're going to tell you your godparents are not in your best interest. That's what I have done. And then you would know. They would tell you, and you remember it, and then you go back, and you just act like everything is normal, but you ask a question about this, ask a question about that. Well, how come you didn't teach me about this? How come you didn't bring this to my attention? And you got every little excuse and whatnot, and then you know you're in the wrong house, regardless of what the F in the background is. Because a lot of people, don't have those little angel things around their head neither, though, so I'm not going to paint the picture like, we perfect, and we got issues too, That's like a main thing right there. I believe that's really, really important right there. And to get initiated, the first thing you want to know is, in Orisha, who is your mother and who is your father? Once you get that pretty much down pat, who your mother, who your father is, and you get initiated to those Orisha because those are your spiritual guardians. So you want to connect with them as soon as you possibly can. When you receive Orisha, you take care of Orisha. You learn how to feed them. You learn how to take care of Orisha, the prayers, the songs, and you spend time with the Orisha, and you get to know the Orisha. You become one with the Orisha. Don't just take them home, sit them on the shelf, and go, do what you've been doing, or the case may be, and then when you got a problem, oh, that's right, let me go talk to Orisha. It don't work like that. Even egos don't work like that. You don't go to them when you have a problem or when you think you have a problem. You go to them on a regular basis, on a daily basis, to build up that bond, to build up that relationship, and you keep it like that. And that's what makes you strong, spiritually, mentally, physically, and etc. Did I answer that enough for you?
Perfect. It is 18 and a half minutes after the hour, and you're with the Anu Asafo show, where Pan-Africanism meets African traditional spirituality, with your host, Sister Omilade Anu, and me, Brother Wole Mango Ifa, and sitting here with us in the studio today is the very dynamic and outspoken brother, Ajamu Venerable Obataye, founder of the Yoruba Society group on the Facebook, and the author of the the forthcoming book, I Beat the System. Brother Obataye has been, dropping some information and teaching us how to work with the system. And as we approach 20 minutes on the hour, we have 10 minutes left in the show. And we're going to get right back with the brother and ask him if there's anything that he wants to talk to us about that he hasn't been asked about yet. The time has flown on us today, and we started late. But Brother Obataye, any particular things on your mind? I know your book is coming out soon. That might be on your mind, but go ahead and take a few minutes and tell us what's going on with you before we close today.
Well, I have 2 chapters left in my book. It's my autobiography. It's volume 1. After I complete that book, I start working on volume 2. Volume 1 is I Beat the System, and it's only 10 chapters in the book. But the 10 chapters cover from age 5 all the way into age 30 when I'm released from prison. Chapter 2 is I Beat the System book, part 2, and I Broke the Family Curse. The family curse is, no one was in my family ever successful. My parents, my sister, my grandmother, no one was actually successful. But, by me writing my book and, the motivational speaking as well and whatnot, I have broke the curse, as in I'm successful now. So, I teach my kids how to be successful and I raise them to be successful, and that's pretty much part 2 of the book. Part 2 of the book is also when I was released from prison and what I've been doing since I've been released from prison. So chapter 2 goes from age 30 all the way up to, 43. So I am right now. And I'm just trying to use my story, my life experience to help people get themselves together. Because I started writing books. I read Man, Child, and Promised Land by Claude Brown. That was autobiography. I also read Malcolm X when I was incarcerated. I also read Dick Gregory. So I read a lot of autobiographies, and that's what inspired me to write my own autobiography, because just like they got a story to tell, I also have a story to tell as well. And I share my life experience with, the generation that come behind me. So hopefully they don't make the same mistakes that I made, but maybe they make some new mistakes so the generation behind them will learn from them new mistakes, and we can keep this process going forward straight ahead.
Ashe. And we'd like to thank you so much for coming out today and dropping this wisdom with us and sharing your information. Brother Ajamu Obataye, founder of the Yoruba Society, Thank you so much. And we want to let everybody know that you can be reached. Do you mind, brother, if I give your Facebook?
Sure.
Facebook address.
Yes.
You're known as Eshu Shango on Facebook. That's ESU and SANGO. And also we like to invite people to go to the Yoruba Society group on the Facebook platform. And of course there's the IBeatTheSystemBook.com email address for people who look for further information on Brother Bataye's book, I Beat the System, that's forthcoming, coming out real soon. And we want to thank you again. Brother, do you have any upcoming events scheduled right now that you want to tell us about? Or should we just, and we wanted to get the telephone number too, right?
Right.
Your number, area code 917-650-9062.
Yes.
Okay. Anything coming up for you in the coming days?
I'm really just focused on these 2 chapters so I can finish this book, because I've been working on this book for a whole year. So I stray away from events because I have my own event that I'm working on, which is my book. I want to get these 2 chapters out so I can get it edited, so I can publish it and have it out there for the public. And another thing that I want to share with everyone, the website is IBeatTheSystemBook.com. When you go there, it clearly states that it's a dating site, but that was a site that I was able to keep at the same time. And I use it as it's a social media. So instead of having a blog, of having 2,000 people on a blog, I prefer to have my own social media. And at the time, that's what I was able to afford to get. And it says, dating site, But to me, it's just like Facebook or any other. Like when you go there, it says a dating site. So I don't want to mislead people. They're like, hey, they go there, they think it's a dating site. It's not. It's a dating site, but the information about my book is on there, and a lot of important information is on there. You can sign up for free. I have videos on there. I mean, not no videos, but you can put videos up on there. The chat line is there. They have a blog there. They have a lot of different features that's there available for people, and it's all free. So instead of having a blog, I prefer to have my own social media network because I believe in my own business, and this is pretty much, my own business right here. IBeatTheSystemBook.com. It's the actual website.
Now, that was fantastic, and we want to wish you the best, you and your book. And we want to let the audience know to please, please, please click on the blue follow button right under the Anu Asafo title on the BlogTalkRadio.com page that you're on to hear the show. Right under the title of the program, Anu Asafo, there's a big blue button. Please click on that, and that will connect you to upcoming events, information about the show. It will also give you a heads-up email that I think it's 90 minutes before the show you'll receive an email saying, hey, show's about to start. So please do that, and we'd like to invite you here next Sunday and every Sunday after that at 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, 12 o'clock noon Central Standard Time, and, of course, 10 o'clock a.m. in the Pacific Standard Time for another enriching installment of the Anu Asafo Show. So for my co-host, Sister Omilade, I'm Brother Wole Mango Ifa saying take care and Odabo.
Odabo.
We thank you for your listening support and urge you to become an active participating member of the ANU community. Therefore, if you would like more information on ANU events and offerings, please sign up for our newsletter at anunation.org. That is ANUNATION.org. For all those listening, if you'd like to move closer to the calculations and fundamental understandings of the Anu Order, be sure to pick up the book, Grasping the Root of Divine Power. If you desire a spiritual reading to help you map your current spiritual position in the face of the world and learn the greatest pathways for your fortune in this season, or you would like to become a student of the Anu Spiritual Order, you can go to SaduluHouse.org. That is SADULUHOUSE.org. If you would like to sponsor or advertise on this or any of our other broadcasts, please contact us at 1-800-ANU-LIVING. That is 1-800-268-548464, or email us at questions@anunation.org. That is the word questions@anunation.org. For more information about Orisha and Orisha products, you can go to OrishaReligion.com. That is OrishaReligion.com. A New Nation thanks you for your continued support. Be well.
Bring down the power. The power of love, I say, is the greatest power. Stop hell and damnation. Bring down the power. Love to heal a nation is the greatest power.
Welcome to the Anu Asafo Show, where Pan-Africanism meets African traditional spirituality. Here, we present views from a wide variety of sources. And now, let's begin.
A wind of destruction is blowing over this land. And now the earth is trembling with man's oppression of man. Now the time comes to sit down and rediscover what's life. Show the world the true meaning of real love, power, not strife.
And now, our African pledge by our Chief Jegna, Yuya Assaan-ANU.
We are an African people. We will remember the humanity, glory, and suffering of our ancestors. We will honor the struggles of our elders. We will strive to bring new values and new life to our people. We will have peace and harmony among us. We will be loving, sharing, and creative. We will work, study, and listen so we may learn. Learn so we may teach. We will cultivate self-reliance. We will struggle to resurrect and unify our homeland. We will raise many children for our nation. We will have discipline, patience, devotion, and courage. We will live as models to provide new directions for our people. We will be free and self-determining. We are an African people, and we will win, and we will win, and we will win. Ashe.
I'm your host, Brother Wole Mongo Ifa, and with me as usual is my co-host, Sister Omilade. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we will get to a special program. We have a guest who is a longtime devotee, and we will talk about a variety of issues. You're here again this week with another Enlightenment and Transformation Network show, the place where we present a variety of ideas and sources to you, but personally endorse none of them, leaving you, the online listening audience, the opportunity to make up your own minds about things. So, once we come back from this, we'll give you an opportunity to speak to the brother. Sister Omilade, please bring us home.
All righty.
According to legend, there was a time when Earth was pure, free of all evil, unicorns, pearl-paved pathways, skies so bright, no night, no problem. When only positivity polluted the country, and something went wrong. My name is Insight. Let's go. Waterfall slows down, breeze, the sun leaves. Cumulus clouds overshadow the area. The cave had appeared with a glowing interior. Inferior primates appeared at the seashore. Search for the knowledge in a natural resource. Mile-file power in the course of a narrow path leads to sacred travelers that expanded to a huge community. Trees cloud down, make room for you and me. Machinery be used, spread more pollution. Scientific breakthroughs for illusion. Positive intentions make the negative easy. See these spectacular species. Weak keys in life, mixing your own formula. Curing the conscious, develop the medicine. Practical principles expose better things. It's the God. The God of your group. It's the God.
Ashe. It is 27 minutes after the hour, and you're back with the Anatafo Show, where Pan-Africanism meets African traditional spirituality, with your host, Brother Ole Mango Ifa, and co-hosting, as usual, Sister Omilade. Today we have a special guest lined up for us. His name is Ajamu Hannibal Obakaye. But what is most interesting about the brother, more than that interesting name, is the work he's been doing
for 20 years and everything. So I'm just looking at him. He speaks very well. He knows what he's talking about, and he pretty much knows what he's doing and whatnot. And that right there, like, caught my interest, because he was able to speak on things that I had no knowledge of. And not just him, it's like a couple of old-timers. And I found myself hanging out with the older brothers who just knew a lot, because I didn't know anything. So I wanted to learn something. So in order for me to learn something, I have to like really associate myself with people who do know more than me, so I can learn from them, so therefore I can get myself together. Because I was really amazed of the history and the politics and things in general. It's like any topic you can ask him about, he would just go into depth and details. I mean, he would just explain it, how it came about, when it came about, why it came about. And I thought that was like really amazing. I didn't know people could do that, you know. So as time went on, explained to me that, you got to get back to school and you got to learn some vocational trades and try to learn everything that you possibly can while you're incarcerated. The same way you went in is not supposed to be the same way you came out. Because if you do, that means you defeat your own purpose. So get a GED, read, learn, study, take all the vocational trades that you possibly can, because when you release one day, you never know which trade that you may have to fall back on. You always have several different trades, therefore you can always make an honest living, therefore you won't have to come back here again, and, pretty much get on the right track or stay on the right track, So it pretty much made sense. So I like the history. History became, across my path, black history. And I began to look at books and couldn't really read them, but I began to look at books and, check them out and whatnot. And it took me a long time to learn how to read, like really get it together. You know what I'm saying? I can't, put time on.
In and out of the community. He is a long-time devotee in the Ifa Orisha system, and he's the founder of the Facebook group, the Yoruba Society. Brother Ajamu, are you there?
Yes, I hear you loud and clear.
Ashe, welcome to the Anu Asafo show, brother.
Thank you.
I've been telling the audience a little something about you, but why don't you tell us a little bit more about yourself, and then we'll start our conversation.
Okay, where would you like me to start at?
Well, why don't you tell us a little bit about your journey into Ifa and the African traditional system, and then up to some of the activities you're doing today, including your Yoruba Society Facebook group.
Oh, okay, that's not a problem. Unfortunately, I was incarcerated at the age of 17, 1988, for violent crime. And when I went to prison, when I went to jail first, I went to prison, I was 17, I was illiterate. And as time went on, I met old-timers. They, gave me little instructions about life, explained things to me and how things are supposed to be, and, just a lot of things in general, things I didn't know, things that I was missing. And they explained things to me, and it was